Since last time, Drakeo The Ruler, someone who I interviewed maybe about a year before his death, was killed backstage at a concert
Here
in LA. And I remember me and his manager, TK Barron, we had this long conversation. He pointed out to me that I never really thought about before, was that this is the first time in hip hop history that at a concert where someone that was supposed to be performing was actually killed backstage at the concert. Rappers have gotten killed over the years.
After.
You know what I mean? After the concert, at a studio, in the street, whatever else. But actually they're about to perform and they get murdered at the actual concert was such an anomaly. And the fact that it actually happened in LA and it was gang related and so forth just left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Remember last time we talked, and I talked about how much I love this city, but how I hated how many people it had taken.
Yeah.
Just look at, I love this city, but I hate that spirit here where you can just decide. And it's always, it's future presidents and people rap, and it's one of the things that I think, as much as I love the city, I can't imagine living anywhere else full time. It's one of the things that I've always despised about it is how much, not just talent, but potential we've taken.
Yeah, and we talked about used to be a blood, growing up. So you're very aware of the gang element. And, you look at the whole story, and from what I understand, the person who did it hasn't been caught. I mean, he was stabbed in the neck. It was really a very brutal, ugly way to die.
Right.
And, but he had his gang affiliation. He made a song called Ingleweird,
right,
where he dissed the whole city.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's the reason for it, but when you take a step back and you say, well, it's probably likely led up to this, it was probably that type of shit.
In the end, it doesn't hold up to the light of day, whatever the reason was. And I think it's just really sad to me. Like when Ice-T, right before the
Super
Bowl is talking about, that's a real thing. And people have this romantic notion of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just spiraling out of control. But I hate that a city that I love so much seems to always be at the epicenter of this kind of stuff.
Well,
I don't like it.
Well, and that's because, and I've talked about this in a lot of other interviews, Crips and Bloods have had the best marketing of any gang in the history, I think, of the world.
Right.
Of the world.
Right.
You take any gang from any country, and they are not as well marketed as Crips and Bloods. Not only are there songs, hit songs about movies, rappers end up becoming gang members in their 20s and 30s when they're already millionaires, like the Chris Browns and the Lil Waynes of the world. It spread into Vietnam and Europe and New York and I'm sure Mexico and everything else like that. It's so, especially someone who hasn't really figured themselves out yet. Mm-hmm. It sounds so exciting. Like, ooh, I'm a blood. I can throw these gang signs. I'm part of this community of guys that'll protect me, and I could be tough as I want to whoever I want because I got these guys behind me. But, I mean, the reality of it is every gang member that I've interviewed has really had horrible stories to go along with it.
And it's such a... I remember when we were doing Dre and Snoop's performance. They had, everybody was crip walking.
Oh, Snoop threw up the Crip sign.
And I saw it. And I remember, it's such a romantic notion of it. And then there are people who are not romantic about it. It is their calling. It's what they do.
Yeah.